Okay, good. It's coming. All right, so let's think about some of the shadows, cast shadows now on her face, which I think are fascinating. Um, I'm gonna switch my screen for just a minute. All right, so we're back. You're looking at the photo now, but let's get our girl up here. All right, so here's the photo of our girl. All right, so let's talk. I'm trying unsuccessfully now as I'm standing here. It does not want to enlarge. Ah, here we go. So, do you see how dark her face is beneath her hand? That is not a form or a body shadow. That is cast shadow. She's shading her eyes. We have a very complex, convoluted shape here. Part of the shape is created by her hand. Part of it is created by her glasses. Do you see? Here's the earpiece of her glasses. And look at this shape beneath it. That's part of the total cast shadow, but that's being created from the earpiece on her glasses, creating shade. And there's a slightly darker, it's not a solid dark shadow right here, being created by this lens on her glass. Isn't this fascinating? Notice the edge of the shadow. It curves down, 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 down. It's going down and to the left, and it's not a straight line because it's following the curvature of her face. Oh my gosh. So interesting. This just lights my brain on fire. I'm gonna try to do that for you now. Huh. Let's see if I can accomplish this on screen. Are you ready? Here we are back here. Okay, here we go. Now the shadow, this cast shadow, first of all, I'm just going to tell you, I'm painting it. I'm going to paint it right over her glasses. I'm not going to paint around the lens, the frames on her glasses. Let's see if I can come in one more notch. I'm not going to paint around the frames of her glasses. The frames of her glasses are darker. So I'm going to paint right over them. If the frames of her glasses, let's say she had metal glasses or, plastic frames and they were lighter, then I would have used masking fluid. But I didn't because they're going to be darker. So I'm going to paint right over that. So I just want to kind of tell you that ahead of time. Okay, I do think that it might be helpful once again to pre-wet just to get the paint moving where I want it to move and to be relatively smooth. Okay, bear with me now. I hope you can see my pencil lines. I think you can see most of them. What I'm going to do now is put water down wherever I see shadow. Now, the section of her glasses over here, where it's just a tad bit darker, I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going to do the more solid, darker areas on the cast shadow. And I drew in the lines. I've got lines here. I drew very careful lines. Okay, and I'm following those lines. As soon as I start to drop the color in where I've pre-wet, you're going to start to see that shadow emerge. I will too. Okay, that's pretty wet there. Now I'm going to carry that over. I'm going to paint one big shadow from her hand and the glasses, or at least the earpiece of her glasses, going right in here to her hair. This is really, this is super fun to do. I got to tell you, this is super fun to do. It's a little nerve-wracking, especially on camera being recorded. Yeah, it's a little nerve-wracking. but we'll get through this, okay? Are you ready? I'm adding a little more water to make sure that it stays wet long enough for me to get my paint on and flowing. So I'm adding a little more water. Can you see how shiny it is? I'm going to pick the paper up now and tip it and kind of curl the paper. This is why I like to leave my paper unclipped, untaped to my board so that I can pick it up and manipulate it easily. I want to get that water sort of flowing through that whole area now. I'm also looking to see if I've missed any spots. I really haven't. Okay, shadow color. I want to go darker. I want to go heavier on the mauve. Um, I'm enlarging the shadow in my iPad a lot, and I'm actually seeing a lot of purple in the shadow. It's beautiful. So the mauve is going to really help me. I don't want her to end up looking like a plum, or a grape, but there's going to be a lot of shadow in, I'm sorry, a lot of purple in here. Okay, here we go. Are you ready? Let's start dropping in the color. And when I say dropping, what I mean is I'm putting it in very lightly. I'm not really cramming my brush onto the surface of the paper. I'm touching this lovely puddle of water, and you can see that I can manipulate the paper and get that paint to move through the puddle. In other places, I'll put it on more deliberately, like right here, let's say, on the earpiece shadow. I'm going to paint it in a little more carefully. It's not wanting to move as much right over here. It's probably not as wet right here. So I'm pushing it more deliberately with my brush. Okay, here we go. It's through most of it. Look what's happening. You seeing it? You're on the screen, what you are seeing. I just glanced up at my computer screen. It's a little warmer. What you're seeing is a little warmer than what is actually happening here, but at least you can see this paint moving. Now I've got it most everywhere, so I'm going to make a few adjustments directly with my brush. So, for instance, I'm looking at my source photo and I'm seeing that right about here. Oh gosh, it's so shiny. There, now you can see it. Right about here, there's a distinct edge where the shadow goes around her nostril, right there. So I'm going to paint that a little more carefully with my brush. Right through here inside her glasses, there's a little bit of a curvy thing going on. I'm going to draw that, paint that in more directly with my brush. Okay, let's take care of things under this nostril. I'm going to bring the shadow over under the nostril. Okay, it covers her whole nose. It snakes down towards her lip, and then it goes onto her upper lip. I've got a giant blob of water right here. You can see it on the screen. Gravity is taking it down there. I'm just going to take my brush now. I'm drying my brush, and I touch that giant blob of water, and it sucks it right up. All right, go. Thank you. All right, let's keep the paint going now. So what was I saying? Oh, yes, the shadow goes over her lip and it kind of curves. I'm looking at my source photo now, everybody. This is what I'm seeing. I have so much lovely information. I can even take this shadow if I want, ever so slightly, right in between her lips. I'm going to have to paint her lips, probably not till next week, but we can continue that shadow right there. Now you can see her lips. And I need a little more pigment now on the far edge of this shadow. Far edge. Right here, I want to darken it. So I'm adding some pigment now. I'm painting directly. Ooh. And right here, I want to warm her up a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit of burnt sienna right there. Warm it up. Okay, now I said to you before that I was not going to paint the part of the shadow that's being cast by the rim of her glasses. But you know what? I'm going to put it in now with my brush. I do have a line. I had drawn a line there. I'm just going to kind of follow my line ever so gently and put that in. I think this is too strong looking. I think it's too hard and a little too dark. So I'm just going to tap it with my towel just to lighten it and soften it a bit. I can leave the rest of the shadow darker and stronger. It's meant to be darker and stronger. Okay, I think this is about it. I think I